So we begin the week with something positive for a change. This only happens about once a year on this show, so soak it in while you can. CBS News aired a report on Friday about some unique measures being taken at a high school in Louisiana to stop the violence and chaos that had been plaguing the campus. Southwood High School in Shreveport began the year in September with multiple major brawls and fights and everything between students. And over the course of just 3 days, over 20 kids were arrested for assault and other charges. And that's when, as the CBS report tells us, the dads of the community decided to do something about it. Let's listen.
Team. Nobody here has a degree in school counseling.
No.
No majors in criminal justice.
No.
Your qualifications are?
We're dads. We decided the best people who can take care of our kids are who? Are us. What we do.
So Michael Lafitte started Dads on Duty.
We're out doing what we do for our babies.
A group of about 40 Southwood dads who now hang out at the school in shifts.
Let's go.
Today, any negative energy that enters the building has to run a gauntlet of good parenting.
What's going on, buddy?
You moving fast. I like that horse.
I immediately felt a form of safety.
We stopped fighting, people started going to class.
How could that be?
You ever heard of a look?
A look? Dads have the power to do that?
Yes. Not many people know it, but yes.
Let's go.
But it's not just the firm stares and stern warnings.
Let's make it to class, my son.
It's also the dad jokes.
They just make funny jokes like, oh, hey, your student's untied, but it's really not untied.
They hate it. They're so embarrassed by it.
And it's that perfect mix of tough love and gentle ribbing that dads do so well that has helped transform this school.
The school has really just been like happy and you can feel it.
Which is why the dads plan to keep coming to Southwood indefinitely.
Because not everybody has the father figure at home.
Or a male, period, in their life.
So just to be here makes a big difference.
Do you think you stumbled onto something here?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Have you stumbled onto something, he asks. Yes, they've stumbled onto something called fatherhood. See, I watch something like this and I want to celebrate it. I do celebrate it. Dads getting involved, taking charge of their children and their communities. It's a beautiful sight to behold. And yet I'm frustrated at the same time that so many in our culture, especially those who control the narrative, can't connect the dots or refuse to connect them. I mean, the media will tell us heartwarming stories like this, and they'll rightfully applaud the men who've stepped up. And then they'll write the whole thing off as a gimmick, an aberration, or at best as something isolated. Sure, lots of problems can be fixed when dads get involved, but only at school, and only when they're wearing matching t-shirts, and only when they give themselves a clever name like Dads on Duty. Then they'll go back to supporting organizations like BLM, which has the explicit goal of destroying the nuclear family. And they'll go back to pretending that men and women are interchangeable and identical. And they'll go back to celebrating single motherhood as the pinnacle of parenting excellence. And they'll go back to calling you racist if you suggest that many of the problems in the black community stem from the scarcity of fathers in the home. See, this Dads on Duty thing is then relegated to a cute little human interest story, a nice 2-minute video that can go viral on Twitter. The broader societal implications are ignored. Because they in the media, they're not going to stop to ask, why this school experienced a seemingly miraculous change simply by the physical presence of firm and attentive men on school grounds. This cognitive dissonance goes beyond the media. They're the ones driving it purposefully, but there are a lot of normal people in our society who struggle with this same disconnect. I couldn't help but notice lots of the accounts with BLM in their bio were sharing this video, apparently not realizing that the content of the video directly contradicts and flies in the face of the stated goals of the organization they pledge allegiance to. But if we're able to somehow lift our heads above this swirl of contradictions, we'll see that the dads in Shreveport are not some anomalous case, nor are they living in a cultural vacuum. This is true universally. Children need fathers, preferably their own fathers, and if they can't have their own fathers, either because he's dead or worse, he has chosen to abandon them, then they need male leadership somewhere else. A child who grows up with no male leadership at all, a child who is raised only by women, and this is a lot of kids, will be severely disabled psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. That's not because the female influence is bad for a child, but because the female influence is only one half of the complete picture. It's one half of the recipe. A child can survive physically on half, but he'll be deeply malnourished. So what is it that dads bring to the table? Why can't they be so easily replaced? Why do they leave an enormous hole behind when they abandon their posts? Well, we see it in the clip that was just played. For one thing, dads are a more imposing and formidable presence, and they exude that aura naturally. You know, kids are almost always better behaved when dad is around. It's not because they don't respect mom, but because they see mom as a gentler and more empathetic presence. It's crucial that they have such a presence in their lives, but there's a flip side to every coin, especially in parenting. And the flip side in this case is that they think they can get away with more. They think they can be a little bit looser. They can push more boundaries with mom. Unless dad is there. But a good dad is not just stern. He's not solely an authority figure. Dads can be playful and irreverent in a unique sort of way. Again, moms have that role as well, but it manifests in different ways. And then, of course, there's the most important dad contribution, or one of the most important contributions. For a boy specifically, dad is around to show him how to be a man. 95% of this job has to be done through demonstration, not lecturing. And as a boy grows older, he might forget almost everything his dad ever told him, but he won't forget the example that was set, for better or worse. The boys at that school in Shreveport, most of them, have probably never had a man around to show them how men are supposed to conduct themselves. Millions of boys are being raised in this way on a sort of island, and it becomes very much a Lord of the Flies situation, which becomes all the more pronounced in urban schools, because these are boys who are walking a path to manhood with no man walking in front of them, no footsteps to follow, no guidance of any kind. The result then is chaos, violence, despair. Almost every bad thing we see in society, drug abuse, suicide, crime, violent crime, all of it stems back largely to this issue. And we really have no right to expect any other result when we remove male leadership from society. Listen, hit that subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It is somewhat appreciated.